If I asked to see your event plans right now, would I get a very nice and easy to read document? It's really clean and modern looking. Or would I get a spreadsheet that's got colors everywhere, tabs everywhere, and it's labeled something like the final version, version 3, final. The hardest part about event planning is not the event itself. It's all the little details, and those details need to make it to your team, to your volunteers, to your audience in a very clean and succinct way. And let's be real, changes are always happening. If an arrival time for a vendor changes, you have to update the master timeline and then possibly the budget, and then you have to email everyone. If one of those things doesn't happen, then the whole day could be thrown off. And all of that is what I call the spreadsheet trap. That's when someone is spending more time updating the spreadsheet than they are actually planning the event. And today you can fix that very problem by using Ripluo, and I'm going to show you how. With Ripluo, you can build a dynamic timeline. It auto-adjusts for you. You can manage vendors, manage speakers, manage a budget, all without opening a single spreadsheet. And you don't have to send someone over and over version 1, then version 2, then version 5 final, then version 6 final. Because it's in one easy-to-use tool, you can share those details with anyone you need. So let's jump straight into the tools. Meet Ripluo, your new event planning command center. Now, the first thing that you'll see is that this is a complete dashboard that's got your number of active events. And if you're an event planning professional, meaning you're running an event business, you've got additional tools that go beyond event planning and are there for you to manage your business. So we've got open opportunities, we can collect vendor quotes, and more. So the first thing, the most important thing, is actually planning the event. You can do that from scratch by clicking New Event, where the system will ask you to give it a whole bunch of information, and I've already got some pre-built for some dry runs and some tests. Now, once you click into an event, you'll see that the menu has now changed on the left. So if I go back, I've got an entire set of event planning tools on the left side and different systems. And then I've got a CRM set of systems. And at the bottom, I've got some other ones where I can message people and I can chat with the built-in artificial intelligence chatbot. I can go to the events list and click on an event. Either way works. But now you can see that the menu has changed. Now that I'm in my event, these are the actual event planning tools that I have for the actual event. So we have an event details page where you can load the date and the time and how many people there are and the venue. Then you can build out your schedule. So this is an example schedule of what it would look like to set up for the 5K. So you can create multiple schedules. You can even have the artificial intelligence builder AI help you with that. Then I've got a checklist tool. So you can see I have no actual tasks or checklists built. So let's go ahead and see what it looks like just to play around with the builder AI. So I'm going to do an event checklist for setting up a 5K and hit send. Then it's going to think for a second and it's going to go ahead and build me a checklist with a set of tasks. Now, each task can then be assigned to myself or it can be assigned to a different person. And here you can see on the chatbot, it tells me what it created for me. And then it created the actual checklist and all of these tasks. If I click into the task, I can mark it as complete, or I can set a due date using the calendar. I'm going to set it for the end of the week, and I'm going to assign it to myself. I can add a subtask. I can add comments where I chat back and forth with other planners that are there with me. So this is the actual task. Now, once I start setting due dates, then things will show up on my event countdown and on my timeline where it will automatically map out how many weeks away or months away and when does it need to get done in that timeline. So that's the builder AI adding it, and that's the checklist tool. We've got a notes section where you can create folders for your notes and then you can move those notes into folders. So this is taking notes on meetings and things like that. We've got an entire budgeting tool where you can create a budget. This one budget can be for multiple events or just a single event. So I'm going to go ahead and create that budget. And then in the budget, I can add expense categories. Like let's say an expense category is going to be AV rental. And I'm going to say it is $1,000, create. So I've got an expense category. I've got revenue categories where I've got ticket sales, and I'm going to add an amount where I'm going to sell $10,000. It'll calculate things for me. I can enter then planned items, and I can actually enter in actual transactions, and then it will show it all to me, a summary of everything in the report section. On the team tab within an event plan, you can add additional planners. If you're on an upgraded, not a free one, but an upgraded one, you can add other planners that can log in and change all of these details with you, or you can just keep track of your team and your volunteers, where you can add a team member and then they're logged as a contact where they can't actually log in, but you can still keep track of their contact information. Then we've got a vendors tab. Now, a vendor is going to be a company and then a person attached to the company. And then you can also, once you have them in there, you can request quotes from them. So let's say you have a couple of favorite photographers, you can request quotes from them and collect them in the system. They will show up here under the quotes tab and under this quotes tab over here. We've got a messages section where we can message with other people about our event if you're on an upgraded plan. Then we've got a sponsors section where we can see we've got 3 potential sponsors and 1 is actually committed. And so we can create the packages here. And then you would actually put something on your website where people can apply to be a sponsor, or you can just click here to add a sponsor. You can keep track of your speakers. Have you booked them? Have you reached out to them? Do you have a signed contract, or have they actually declined to be at your event? At a 5K, we might not actually need that, but it's still there. And speaking of which, in case we don't need something, we can go to the All Tools button here. If I don't need one, I'm going to turn off speakers right there and hit save, and the speakers section is gone. So then we can keep track of our venues. Have we been talking to 5 different venues, and where are we with that? Do we have an actual quote where this one cost X number of dollars? What is the address of them? So we can keep track of all of that. We have a map section where you can upload a map of your event. Then we have a public page where all of this information is loaded into your event. And instead of downloading it and attaching it via an email, you can just create a public version of some of this data. You can choose what information is on the public page. And then you can share it with people where it's a read-only version. They can read a lot of this information, but they can't actually change anything. So we're going to go ahead and just play with that for a second, where I'm going to name it version 1, 5K, and we'll put version 1.0 just for good use. The page title, I'm going to use the event details. I'm going to turn it on, so make the page public, yes. And I want to show the event details, schedule, and location. I'm going to hit save, and then I can preview it here where it opens it up, and this is the read-only version so that people have the timeline, they have the location, and they have other information that you might want them to. And if you are collecting quotes, you can also come here where we would go to the quotes tab, and we can either log a quote or we can enable quote requests. And on the public page, we can preview it 100%, but we can also scroll down to this section where it's vendors needed. And I can say, I need a photographer. My budget is $3,500 and I have it as active. Click add. And then if I hit refresh, if someone comes to this page, they can see, oh, okay, vendors are needed and we're looking for a photographer. And then they can submit their quote to you using that button. Finally, there are a couple of additional sections here where you can click so you can have a guest list where people can RSVP. Now, this is not the same as a ticketing system. This is just a guest list system. You can, coming soon is Layout Builder. It's TBD on when, but we are developing that. There is a file section where you can simply add PDF documents and things like that. You can create certain forms to collect information like names and addresses if you need to. And we already turned off the speakers section, and you can keep track of your volunteers just like you would in the team section of who your event team is going to be. So that is an overview and a rundown of the event planning tools. And if you are an event planner and you are running your own event business, then you're also going to love the Event CRM. The Event CRM is built from beginning to end on how to run your event business. Now, personally, I have been in the event industry for 15 years now, and I have been in both sales and project management for events. I've done event planning and I've done event booking. And so I know that there are promise makers and there are promise keepers. Sometimes that's the same person, but either way, you need to know all of the promises that are made in the booking side, and you need to know how to keep them. And if you don't know what they are, you can't keep them. So here in the Ripluo system, you can log all of the event details from beginning to end, starting with adding it to your website. So here in the CRM side, you'll see that there are contacts where you can have a list of contacts with their phone number and their email. All of these are fake, or at least they're meant to be fake, created by an AI tool. So please don't start emailing everyone on this list. And then you'll see that you can also keep track of a list of clients. If it's a couple, you can put their names together as a client. Or if it's a company, you would log them in here. And beyond that, in the CRM, which is customer relationship management or client relationship management, you want to track all of the information of what you're doing with them. Now, in order to do that, you can click on their contact or click on their client, and you can click log email or log a phone call. So you can keep track of who is talking to who and what are they doing. So that's going to come down to the communication section. And before they even become a contact, they're going to become a lead. A lead is someone who reaches out to you and is interested in hiring you for an event. So you can either log them yourself by adding them as a lead, or you can embed a form in your website so that when someone fills out their form, it automatically gets captured right here in the system. Then once you have someone that's a lead, you can go ahead and click the three dots and you can convert that to an opportunity where you want to create the contact. Yes. And you want to create the opportunity. In this instance, yes, because I have not already created a Tyler Bennett. So I'm going to go ahead and convert the lead, and that's going to convert it into an opportunity. So you can see here is the leads, and the next step is the pipeline where I can see all of my opportunities. So this is where Tyler Bennett's event was just converted from a lead, and then you can manage them in your pipeline by changing the stages all the way from a lead to getting the contract signed, including in the system. You can convert the opportunity into a contract and have contract templates. You can convert the opportunity and build out a custom proposal. So if I come down here, I can log activity where I'm logging emails or phone calls or certain tasks that I'm doing with them. I can do it there, or I can do it up here where I'm logging the email as well. I can assign it to a certain person. I can tell myself, hey, what likelihood is it actually going to book? On this opportunity, I can add products and services. So I would come here to inventory and I would select a couple of them. I would say, oh, they want a barbecue station and they want my premium package. I'm going to add those to that. This is the total that it comes to, where instead of one barbecue, we're feeding actually for 500 people, $32 each. So I can see what the actual total is of this opportunity. So I can keep track of where I'm at with them. And then I can create a custom proposal where I'm going to start from scratch. I can use my brand colors. I can add my company logo and a bunch of information. I'm going to hit save, and then I'm going to hit preview. And I can preview this and I can send it to my potential client and say, hey, here's all the details for your event. They can click accept. If they do that, then you can move into the contracting phase where we've got a contracting system where you can load in a template to reuse over and over and over again, send it through e-signature. Once that's done, you can create an invoice. With that invoice, you can get paid. And then finally, the last step is once you've been paid for the event or whatever that looks like in your process, whether that's beforehand or afterwards, that's up to you. But you can take that opportunity. I can go to Tyler Bennett. I can change the stage to closed one. Let's say I'm working with Tyler. We've already got a contract, or it's just a handshake. I don't need a contract from him. And then what I can do, come down here, is I can create an event from opportunity. I do not want to use a template. And I'm going to use all of the event details that I have already been talking about with Tyler. It's saved in here, and I can turn that into an event. And then I can go ahead and use that event planning tools with the event details that I've already collected. Now, as you can see, this is a pretty robust command center for not only planning your event, but also for running an event business. If you want to go deep into any one of these tools, be sure to check out the other videos on this YouTube channel, or you can go to ripluo.com/tutorials that I am constantly updating with more and more information on how to use the system. So be sure to go to ripluo.com where you can sign up for your free account, start playing with some of those event planning tools, check it out, and plan your first 5 events completely free.